From Rags to Riches, the story of Oprah Winfrey. What if I told you that a little girl born into crushing poverty, facing unimaginable abuse and discrimination, would one day become the first African-American female billionaire? What if I told you she'd influence presidents, launch the careers of countless authors, and touch the lives of millions around the world? This isn't a fairy tale. This is the extraordinary true story of Oprah Winfrey, a woman who transformed her deepest pain into her greatest power, turning every obstacle into a stepping stone toward unprecedented success. Before we dive into this incredible journey, if stories like this inspire you to chase your own dreams, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We share these powerful success stories every week to fuel your own path to greatness. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Today, we're going to uncover the secrets behind Oprah's rise from a sharecropper's granddaughter to a media mogul worth over $2.5 billion. We'll discover how she turned trauma into triumph, rejection into resilience, and pain into purpose. But most importantly, we'll extract the life-changing lessons that you can apply to your own journey, no matter where you're starting from. Because if Oprah's story teaches us anything, it's that your beginning doesn't determine your ending, your choices do. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and transformed by one of the most powerful rags to riches stories ever lived. Born into struggle. The harsh beginning. On January 29, 1954, in the rural town of Kosciuszko, Mississippi, Orpah Gail Winfrey was born. Yes, Orpah, not Oprah. The name would later be mispronounced so often that she simply embraced Oprah as her own. But that small change was nothing compared to the monumental transformations that lay ahead. Oprah was born to unmarried teenage parents, Vernita Lee, an 18-year-old housemaid, and Vernon Winfrey, a 20-year-old soldier. Her birth certificate listed her as illegitimate, a stigma that would follow her through her early years in the deeply segregated South. Her mother, unable to care for her, left Oprah with her maternal grandmother, Hattie Mae Lee, on a pig farm so poor that Oprah wore dresses made from potato sacks. Other children at church would mock her clothing, but even then, young Oprah possessed an extraordinary spirit. The foundation of resilience. Hattie Mae was strict but loving, and she gave Oprah two gifts that would shape her destiny: the ability to read and a deep faith. By age 3, Oprah was reading aloud in church, earning her the nickname, the Preacher, because of her dramatic delivery and natural charisma. "I learned to read when I was 3, Oprah would later recall. "I was at church and they were asking children to get up and recite Easter speeches. I was like, I can do that. I got up there and did my little piece, and everybody was amazed." But this early recognition came with a price. Her grandmother's discipline was harsh. She would whip Oprah for the smallest infractions, believing that strict discipline would prepare her for the cruel realities of being a black girl in the Jim Crow South. A world of pain and confusion. At age 6, Oprah's life took a devastating turn. She was sent to live with her mother in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Vernita worked long hours as a housemaid and had little time for her daughter. Worse, she began leaving Oprah with male relatives and family friends who would sexually abuse her. The abuse began when she was just 9 years old and continued for years. Oprah suffered in silence, carrying shame and confusion that no child should ever bear. She had no words for what was happening to her, no understanding that it wasn't her fault. "I was raped at 9 years old by my cousin, then again by a family friend, and then by my uncle," she would courageously reveal decades later. "I kept it a secret for fear that I would be blamed for it." Acting out and searching for love. The trauma manifested in behavioral problems. Oprah became rebellious, skipping school, stealing, and lying. At 13, she ran away from home and lived on the streets for a week. She was desperately seeking the love and validation she couldn't find at home. At 14, the unthinkable happened. Oprah became pregnant. In that era, for an unmarried black teenager, this was seen as the ultimate shame. She hid the pregnancy for months, terrified of the consequences. The baby was born prematurely and died shortly after birth. For young Oprah, this tragedy felt like both a devastating loss and, in her confused teenage mind, a second chance. The turning point. Recognizing that her daughter was spiraling out of control, Vernita made a crucial decision. She sent Oprah to live with her father, Vernon Winfrey, in Nashville, Tennessee. This decision would save Oprah's life. Vernon Winfrey was everything Oprah's previous guardians hadn't been: stable, disciplined, and deeply committed to education. He owned a barbershop and small grocery store, and he believed absolutely in the power of education and hard work. My father turned my life around by insisting I be more than I was and by believing I could be more, Oprah would later say. His love of learning showed me the way. Finding her voice. The power of structure and expectation. Vernon Winfrey didn't just provide shelter, he provided structure, expectations, and most importantly, belief in Oprah's potential. He required her to read a book every week and write a report about it. He made education non-negotiable. If you were on punishment, you had to read a book, Oprah recalled. My father taught me that reading was a doorway into everything. Under her father's guidance, Oprah's grades improved dramatically. She joined the speech team, drama club, and student council. For the first time in her life, she was channeling her natural charisma and intelligence in positive directions. The discovery of her gift. At East Nashville High School, Oprah discovered she had an extraordinary gift for public speaking. She won speech contests, performed in school plays, and began to understand that her voice, literally and metaphorically, was her superpower. But it was a church-speaking engagement that changed everything. At 17, while speaking at a local church, she was approached by a radio station owner who was impressed by her poise and eloquence. He offered her a job reading news on the radio after school. This was 1971, and opportunities for young black women in media were virtually non-existent. But Oprah's talent was undeniable. She became Nashville's first black female news anchor and the youngest person ever to anchor the news in Nashville at just 19 years old. College and early career struggles. Despite her broadcasting success, Vernon insisted that Oprah attend college. She enrolled at Tennessee State University on a full scholarship, studying speech communications and performing arts. But the pull of her broadcasting career was strong. When she was offered a job in Baltimore making $22,000 a year, more money than she had ever imagined, she made the difficult decision to leave college and pursue her media career full-time. The move to Baltimore was humbling. At WJZ-TV, she faced racism, sexism, and constant criticism. Her producers tried to change everything about her: her hair, her name, her emotional interviewing style. They told her she was too emotional and too invested in her stories. The painful lessons of authenticity. The criticism cut deep, but it taught Oprah a crucial lesson that would define her career. Authenticity couldn't be manufactured or suppressed. When she tried to be what others wanted her to be, she failed. When she was truly herself, she succeeded. I was demoted from my 6 o'clock anchor position and put on a local talk show in Baltimore called People Are Talking, she recalled. Best thing that ever happened to me. I felt like I'd come home to myself. On the talk show, Oprah could be empathetic, emotional, and genuinely curious about people's stories. Her ratings soared, and she discovered her true calling, connecting with people through the power of conversation and shared experience. The Chicago opportunity. In 1984, Oprah received an offer that would change her life forever. A struggling half-hour morning show in Chicago called AM Chicago needed a host. The show was in last place, going up against the powerhouse Phil Donahue show. Most people thought it was career suicide to compete with Donahue, but Oprah saw opportunity where others saw impossibility. She moved to Chicago with determination and a clear vision. She would create television that healed rather than harmed, that lifted people up rather than tearing them down. The rise of a media phenomenon. Transforming AM Chicago. Within 1 month of Oprah's arrival, AM Chicago went from last place to first place in the ratings. Her approach was revolutionary. Instead of focusing on sensational topics for shock value, she created genuine conversations about real issues that mattered to people's lives. Viewers saw something they'd never seen before, a host who cried with her guests, who shared her own struggles, who made them feel seen and understood. Oprah wasn't just interviewing people. She was creating a safe space for authentic human connection. The show's success was so dramatic that within a year, it was expanded to a full hour and renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show. At just 32 years old, Oprah had achieved something extraordinary. She had her own nationally syndicated talk show. Breaking barriers and setting standards. The Oprah Winfrey Show debuted nationally on September 8, 1986, reaching 120 cities and becoming the highest-rated talk show in television history. But Oprah's impact went far beyond ratings. She was changing the very nature of television. While other talk shows exploited human pain for entertainment, Oprah elevated her platform. She tackled serious issues like domestic violence, sexual abuse, and racism while also celebrating human achievement and potential. Her willingness to share her own traumatic experiences, including revealing her history of sexual abuse on national television, gave others permission to speak their truth and seek healing. The birth of Harpo Productions. In 1988, Oprah made a move that shocked the industry. She purchased the rights to her own show and formed Harpo Productions, Oprah spelled backwards. This made her the first African-American woman to own and produce her own talk show. "I always knew I was born to be an entrepreneur," she said. "I wanted to own my own platform so I could control my own destiny." This decision proved to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but more importantly, it gave Oprah complete creative control over her content and message. Expanding her empire. With financial success came opportunities to expand her influence. In 1985, she made her acting debut in Steven Spielberg's The Color Purple, earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The role was deeply personal. Like the character Sophia, Oprah had overcome abuse and found her voice. Her performance was raw, powerful, and authentic, proving that her talents extended far beyond television hosting. But Oprah's greatest expansion came through her book club, launched in 1996. Oprah's book club became a cultural phenomenon, with the power to turn unknown authors into bestsellers overnight. The Oprah Effect demonstrated her incredible influence over American culture. Using wealth for impact. As her wealth grew, she became a billionaire in 2003. Oprah never forgot her roots or her purpose. She used her platform and resources to create positive change, focusing particularly on education and opportunities for disadvantaged children. In 2007, she opened the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for girls in South Africa, providing world-class education to girls from impoverished backgrounds. "Education is the key to unlocking the world, a passport to freedom," she declared. Overcoming personal battles. The weight struggle. Despite her professional success, Oprah battled personal demons that played out publicly. Her struggle with weight became a national conversation, as she openly shared her yo-yo dieting, emotional eating, and the deeper issues behind her relationship with food. "My weight issue wasn't about food," she explained. "It was about using food to numb myself from the pain of my past." Her honesty about this struggle endeared her to millions of women who saw their own battles reflected in hers. When she lost 67 pounds in 1988 and wheeled out a wagon of fat on her show, it became one of television's most memorable moments. But the weight returned, teaching Oprah and her audience that quick fixes don't address deeper issues. Her continued openness about this struggle showed that even successful people face ongoing challenges. Facing public scrutiny. With fame came intense scrutiny. Oprah faced criticism for her lifestyle, her relationships, her spiritual beliefs, and her influence over American culture. She was accused of being too emotional, too spiritual, and too influential. The criticism that hurt most came when she faced a $12 million lawsuit from Texas cattlemen after discussing mad cow disease on her show. The trial lasted 5 weeks, and though she ultimately won, the experience was devastating. "I will never be silenced," she declared after the verdict. "I will continue to speak my truth." The spiritual journey. Throughout her career, Oprah's spiritual seeking became a defining characteristic. She explored various spiritual traditions, from Christianity to Buddhism to New Age teachings, always searching for deeper meaning and purpose. Her spiritual journey wasn't without controversy. Critics accused her of promoting New Age nonsense and leading people away from traditional religion. But for Oprah, spirituality was about finding connection, purpose, and the highest version of herself. "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude," she often said, embodying this philosophy in her own life and sharing it with millions. Learning to set boundaries. Success brought its own challenges. Oprah learned that saying yes to everything meant saying no to herself. She had to learn to set boundaries, to protect her energy, and to choose her commitments carefully. This lesson came partly from her friendship with Maya Angelou, who taught her about the importance of self-care and self-respect. "When people show you who they are, believe them," became one of Oprah's most quoted pieces of wisdom, learned through painful personal experience. Building a legacy. The end of an era. In 2011, after 25 years, Oprah made the difficult decision to end The Oprah Winfrey Show. The final episode aired on May 25, 2011, watched by 16.4 million viewers who had grown up with her voice as a constant presence in their lives. After much prayer and months of careful thought, I've decided that next season, season 25, will be the last season of The Oprah Winfrey Show, she announced. It's exactly the right time. The decision wasn't about ratings. The show was still number one. It was about evolution, about taking her mission to the next level. The OWN Network. Oprah's next chapter was the launch of OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, in 2011. It was her most ambitious venture yet, a cable network dedicated to programming that would entertain, inform, and inspire. The network's early years were challenging, with low ratings and financial struggles. Critics called it a failure, but Oprah persevered, learning hard lessons about the television industry and adapting her approach. I thought I could just put my name on a network and it would be successful, she admitted. I learned that building a network is different from hosting a show. But I never quit, and eventually, we found our voice. By 2013, OWN had turned the corner, finding success with original programming and building a loyal audience. Continued impact and influence. Even without her daily show, Oprah's influence remained enormous. Her interviews became major cultural events. Her 2018 interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry was watched by 50 million people worldwide. Her Super Soul Sunday conversations explored spirituality, personal growth, and human potential with leading thinkers and spiritual teachers. She continued to champion education, donating millions to various educational causes. The Oprah Effect continues. Throughout her career, the Oprah Effect, her ability to influence consumer behavior and cultural conversations, remained powerful. Her book recommendations still created bestsellers. Her endorsements could make careers. Her opinions shaped national conversations. But perhaps her greatest effect was inspiring millions of people to believe in their own potential. Through her story and her message, she gave people permission to dream bigger, to overcome their past, and to create the life they wanted. Wealth and philanthropy. By 2024, Oprah's net worth exceeded $2.5 billion, making her one of the wealthiest self-made women in America. But her approach to wealth was always about impact, not accumulation. She has donated hundreds of millions to education, particularly focusing on opportunities for girls and young women. Her philosophy of giving was simple: the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. The timeless lessons. The power of authenticity. Perhaps Oprah's greatest lesson is the power of authenticity. In a world that constantly tries to change us, her success came from embracing who she truly was: emotional, spiritual, empathetic, and real. The courage to be yourself is the foundation of all success, she teaches. When you are authentic, you give others permission to be authentic too. Her willingness to share her struggles, from abuse to weight issues to professional setbacks, showed that vulnerability is not weakness, it's the birthplace of courage and connection. Turning pain into purpose. Oprah transformed her deepest pain into her greatest purpose. The abuse she suffered as a child became the foundation for her empathy and her mission to help others heal. Her struggles became her strength. Turn your wounds into wisdom, she often says. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow and to help others who face similar challenges. This lesson is perhaps the most powerful for anyone facing difficulties. Your current struggle may be preparing you for your future purpose. The importance of education and reading. From her father's insistence on reading to her book club's cultural impact, Oprah consistently championed education as the pathway to freedom and transformation. Books were my path to personal freedom, she declares. I learned to read at age 3, and soon discovered there was a whole world to conquer that went beyond our farm in Mississippi. Her message is clear. Education is not just about formal schooling, it's about becoming a lifelong learner, constantly growing and evolving. Building authentic relationships. Throughout her journey, Oprah surrounded herself with people who supported her growth and challenged her to be better. From Maya Angelou to Gayle King to Stedman Graham, she chose relationships based on authenticity and mutual respect. Surround yourself with only people who are going to lift you higher, she advises. Life is already filled with those who want to bring you down. The power of gratitude and service. Despite her wealth and fame, Oprah maintains that her greatest joy comes from service, using her platform and resources to lift others up. Her gratitude practices and focus on giving back kept her grounded and purposeful. Be thankful for what you have, you'll end up having more, she teaches. The greatest gift you can give yourself is to serve others. Your beginning doesn't determine your ending. Perhaps most importantly, Oprah's story proves that where you start doesn't determine where you finish. Born into poverty, abuse, and limited opportunities, she created a life of unprecedented success and impact. The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change their future by merely changing their attitude, she reminds us. You are responsible for the energy that you create for yourself, and you're responsible for the energy that you bring to others. Final inspiration. As we conclude this incredible journey from a sharecropper's granddaughter to a billionaire media mogul, remember that Oprah's story is not just about her success, it's about the potential that exists within each of us. Every setback she faced, she transformed into a comeback. Every obstacle became a stepping stone. Every moment of pain became an opportunity for purpose. Your story is still being written. No matter where you are right now, no matter what challenges you face, you have the power to change your trajectory. You have the power to transform your pain into purpose, your struggles into strength, and your dreams into reality. If Oprah's incredible journey has inspired you to chase your own dreams and create your own success story, show your support by hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications. We're here every week with stories that will fuel your journey to greatness. Because remember, if she can rise from poverty to become one of the most influential people in the world, imagine what's possible for you. The only question that remains is, what will you do with the inspiration you've gained today? Your rags to riches story is waiting to be written. The pen is in your hands. Now go out there and make it happen. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more incredible success stories that will transform your mindset and ignite your potential. If there's any particular success story you'll love to listen to, kindly drop the request in the comments section and we'll get it for you. We're rooting for you. The world is waiting for your greatness. It's in you, waiting to be unleashed. See you next time.